My colleagues, we're back from recess. We are on page 113, miscellaneous provisions, section 1. Actually, all the sections there on section 1, 2. We have an amendment from Senator Therese Terlai that impacts all Guam retirees that are employed by the government of Guam. Madam Senator Therese?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So if I could direct my colleagues to that, it's kind of a group of amendments where they strike out one line from each of these sections. The sections are currently authorizing the temporary employment of retired corrections officers, police officers, customs officers, revenue tax officers, and social workers. And so what I want to do is just strike out the sentence in those paragraphs that says, any employee hired under this section shall only be eligible to enroll in the GovGuam health insurance as an active employee. So we're just to strike that out, and if just for time, Mr. Chair, we could do that as one fell swoop, and then I want to do section 8 separately.
Does my colleagues all understand?
No. Point of order, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Can you please be more specific? Sorry.
Okay, more. I think I'll ask Senator Therese if she could explain, because if you look at each section there, where it says, let me give a good example. I'll start with section 2, temporary employment of correction officers. You go down the line, line 20.
Mr. Chair, I thought their amendments were grouped together, but they're not. They're loose. So if I could just ask them to gather all the amendments that start off with the words temporary employment of. And if you gather those all together, you'll see there's a section 2, section 3, section 4, section 5, section 6, section 7. Do you see that?
This one.
Point of order, Mr. Chair. I apologize, but we received over 12 amendments during the recess. So I just want to make sure that we all how many pages are we talking about and what does it look like? Thank you.
Maybe it's better, Mr. Chair, point of order, if we go page by page, if that's the case.
Okay.
There's a bunch of
Well,
amendments
Senator
everywhere.
Therese, if we'll just go page by page and then we'll identify the section we're talking about. Because my colleagues, the amendment would capture all GovGuam retirees employed in the government of Guam. Okay? That are allowed or authorized by law to be hired back, such as the Department of Corrections, such as Department of Guam Police Department, firefighters, retired customs quarantine officers, Department of Revenue and Tax, social workers,
Oh, yeah.
and the only one I think that's just missing, but we need to be able to capture them, is the Department of Education. Folks, we need to make sure that they're part of this one sweep,
So,
all right?
We're going to do that. Okay, so if we could just refer to the bill. It doesn't look like.
Point of
What's-
order, Mr. Chair. I apologize, Senator. I don't believe I received these amendments, so I just
Yeah, that's what it's looking like to me. So if,
can-
but it's very simple. If I could ask for a notwithstanding motion, Mr. Chair, and if we just look at the bill itself in
Yeah,
sections, in page 113,
All right? Okay, page 113, what line, ma'am?
okay, go to page 114. So on line 2, there's a sentence that begins, any employee hired under this section shall only be eligible to enroll in the Government of Guam Health Insurance Program as an active employee. So that one sentence is contained in sections 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And that sentence is what I would like to delete in each of those sections in one fell swoop to save time, Mr. Chair, notwithstanding the House rules.
Yes. Has everybody, you don't see that one sentence they're talking about? Okay, on page 114, it's on line 2, any employee hired under this section, that until the period of employee. That is to be striked. Okay? If
Correct.
you go down the line, same page, line 22 to line 24, from any employee all the way down into active employee. Are we tracking, everyone? Okay. It's the move is to delete because we have one statement that would replace that. Okay?
Point of information, I think it's to replace shall with may.
No, we're deleting it. Any employee hired on the section shall, no, that whole sentence will be deleted. Okay?
whole
And if we go to
sentence.
page. Okay.
Sure, yes, okay, so just to make sure we're all on the same page, there's not a floor amendment. I'm just asking that we delete these sentences from the bill that's in front of you. So on page 114, that sentence, line 2, any employee hired in this section shall only be eligible to enroll in the GovGuam program as an active employee. So I want to delete this sentence from sections 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 of the bill, just to make it consistent. And so that is going to, so currently retired employees are receiving health insurance as a retiree. And so when they get back into the government of Guam temporarily as an active employee, we are allowing them by these provisions to get rehired, right? And not give up their annuities. So this provision would also allow them to get rehired and not give up their retiree health insurance and not have to, otherwise they have to re-enroll as an active employee. And then when they get out, they have to get back on again as a retiree. So of course, it's a little bit inconvenient, but for DOE employees, it's very, very inconvenient and very problematic because they kind of miss coverage sometimes, right? So for those sections, and then we'll do section 8 separately. On section 4, line 16. Section 11. Section 6, line 27. Yes, section 7, it's line 14.
And Senator Therese, and the amendment will state,
It's to delete the sentence.
okay, just to
Yes.
delete it,
Yes.
okay? Are there any objection to that amendment?
Point of order, Mr. Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
This is an amendment that makes a change to multiple sections of the bill. It is not, in my mind, in keeping with the rules that you established that we show in writing. And this is a change that is to multiple pages, to multiple sections, and we're attempting to do it in one fell swoop, which would be fine with me if there was a printed amendment where I could see what is being struck and then list all the different sections that you're attempting to do it, just so that we can be clear exactly what is going on here. And we've made so many different amendments to this bill. I'm concerned that legal and OFB and our staff are going to have trouble engrossing this bill. And so we just want to make sure that our intent is clear. I don't necessarily object to the content of this amendment. I just want to make sure that every single member of our body is on the same sheet of music here. So if we could just even get one sheet, one amendment where it shows what sentence the proffer wants to strike and then list all the different sections she wants it to apply to, that in my mind would just make everything much simpler and much more easy for everybody to understand. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, yes, I understand the concerns. That's why I made a notwithstanding motion, because I thought that these were already copied, passed out, because I have them on my desk. But when I looked at my neighbor's desk, they're not there. So in order
Okay.
to save time, I was just making that
Yes.
notwithstanding motion, and I thought it was a simple enough motion.
All right.
The clerks have it.
I understand. So, do you have one sheet there with you?
I have a sheet here, Mr. Chair.
You have one
What,
sheet,
we're
and then
gonna-
we can get the folks to run a copy, and then everybody understands how it's being done. Okay? And while that's happening, Senator Therese, we have another amendment for the
Can I
DOE
do section
retirees.
8, Mr. Chair,
Beg
then,
pardon?
in the interim? Can I do section 8? That's also passed out.
Section 8 is passed out?
Yes. I'm hoping. No, not that one. Section 8 is it's a general provision. Do I have the floor, Mr. Chair?
Yes, please.
Section 8
Section
is a general provision. It's not specific like sections 1 through 7 that they listed, retired employees for customs, police, et cetera. So this is a general provision that currently in the bill says any employee hired pursuant to 812A, which is the code section that allows retirees to be hired and tells them, what's going to happen with their annuity when they're rehired. So this amendment will say that instead of saying they shall only be eligible to enroll as an active employee, it's going to say
Me.
they may be eligible to enroll as an active employee. So it gives
Right.
that retiree a choice, and hopefully to avoid the hassle.
Yes, thank you. Are there any objections to this? There being none, motion passes. Now,
So I forgot to say, Mr. Chair, so we're hoping, because DOE is not listed in the bill separately, that this is going to
Yeah, but-
cover DOE, because DOE is already hiring, right? And so we're
There-
assuming they must have authority from somewhere to
Well,
be
well,
hiring.
There is an amendment by the Vice Speaker that would cover that. I'll have her speak to that one. And my colleagues, after this one, we will recess. They need to reset the system, and we'll come back tomorrow at 9 o'clock and hopefully be done by 12. I hope we've got that agreement here. Vice Speaker, ma'am, if you could please read your amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I'd like to thank Senator Rigel and his team for helping us for actually developing this amendment. This addresses, we left this section blank because of all the amendments that were coming in, but it's going to fall in the same area as the temporary employment of retired Guam Department of Education teachers. So if everyone has the amendment, it's titled Temporary Employment of Retired Guam Department of Education Teachers. And it reads, the Guam Department of Education may hire retired teachers who are not eligible for Medicare Parts A and B, and who shall remain covered under the Government of Guam Group Health Insurance Program as a retired person. The GDOE may exercise this hiring authority provided it does not exceed its budget for filling these positions. Positions shall be terminated when the incumbent returns from military service. Retirees shall be hired at a minimum of step 1 for the position in question and shall not receive sick and annual leave. Notwithstanding subsection 8121 alpha of Article 1, Chapter 8, Title 4 GCA, retirees held temporarily pursuant to this section may continue to receive retirement benefits. The superintendent of GDOE shall report to Il Legislature in Guahan on July 1st, 2020, and again 30 days after the end of the fiscal year, of the number of retired employees hired pursuant to this section, the position filled, the length of employment, the cost of said hiring, and the nature of the critical need that was filled. And so, Mr. Chair, it addresses several things. The first one is the issue with Medicare. So some of the challenges that we have in the government is if I'm a retired teacher, I go back to DOE and I work as a contract employee. At that time, what is the process now with the statute is I lose my retirement insurance and I have to go and enroll in as an active employee. So it's an extra step that I would have to take as a retired teacher, but also an extra cost to the agency itself. And then we also address some of the challenges that we have with the military service when those leave for military service. And we ensure that they are hired at step 1 or above if that's what their contract requires. And then, of course, the reporting requirements so that we can track the amount of money saved from this amendment. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Does Senator Tello, you have a question on the amendment?
Yes, Mr. Chair. This amendment, it doesn't have a page on it. Is that like supposed to be with legal to decide? And if so, what, are we still on miscellaneous provisions?
It would stay under the retirees, and it'll probably fall under page 117, but as the legal and the clerks go through it, they'll realign, because it'll fall under the same category as all the retirees.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions? If not, yes, Senator Therese.
I don't have an objection to this, Mr. Chair, but I am a little, I guess would like some assurance because I was looking through 2019, this is not in there, but DOE is already hiring retired employees. We know that because the health insurance issues come up.
Right.
And I don't want to mess up what they've already got. So,
As a matter of fact, I got calls from DOE asking if we can help them because the retirees are having that problem of having to cancel their insurance. And they do that, the authority. I'm just surprised it wasn't in 2019 or any other
no,
budget acts.
but what I'm saying is this is more than just the insurance. This is the
Yes.
hiring authority. So it's kind of making a different hiring authority than what they might be operating under. That's my only concern. I don't know the answer, but if they're confident, then I won't object.
All right. Are there any questions? If none, are there any objections to this amendment? There being none, motion passes. My colleagues, we will recess until tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Please be punctual. We've only have...
Mr. Chair, they
Yes,
passed
ma'am.
out the amendment. Can we just finish
Oh.
that one then?
Okay, if the amendment's...
not passed
If the
yet.
amendment's out and it should be quick,
Right?
does everybody have it now? Okay, I think it addresses everything that our colleagues had addressed. The amendment is out. Senator Therese, I think you want to just...
Just
You've
in
already
your packets is to delete that sentence again from each of those sections.
Yes.
And please ignore section 8 on this copy that you have. So sections 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, to remove that one sentence.
Are there any objection, ma'am, Senator Lee?
So to amend sections 2 through 7, section 2 through section 7 is
That's
the
correct.
amendment to her amendment of chapter 11 miscellaneous provisions. Is that correct?
2 through, chapter 11, that's correct. Let me look one more time. Yes,
Page
that's on,
113.
that is on, oh, correction, that's chapter 12. Chapter 12, I just changed the number 11 to 12. It's chapter 12 where it starts. Okay? On page, it's 113.
It's page
Just-
113, yeah,
yeah.
ignore that
We
stuff
just-
on the top, yeah.
All right. Are there any objection to this amendment? There being none, motion passes. Ladies and gentlemen, we are recessed until tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. Thank you.